Basically, we're a rooting station. We are one of Carlin's vendors. We're in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Slide shows the greenhouses when the snow is flowing. We're still growing, so it's like in the middle of winter, we're producing those liners that you're going to get for spring. Basically, one of the many things that we do offer is our customer service is excellent. So for those of you that ever had to call the greenhouse, you're going to talk to one of these gals, the gal in red, Tara Van Houten. She is basically our sales managers. These girls go above and beyond the word customer service. I've been on the other side of where I'm at now, and I've had to deal with these girls when I was basically production manager at a different greenhouse, and they go above and beyond. So if you ever have an issue with anything that you're getting from Mast Young Plants, you can call the greenhouse. They will assist you. They will help you with. If you have an order with Carlin in, you can adjust it just with these girls. You don't have to go through your sales reps. If you want to add something, you can call these girls. As long as they're an existing order, we can expand on it, deplete it, whatever you need done about it. One of the things that we do for a lot of the stuff that I just want to throw one comment in here is we do a catalog, and if you're an existing customer, usually you get the catalog in the mail. We have our publisher who manufactures our catalog this year, MIA. We don't know where we're standing with the production of our catalogs. They promise us they are supposed to get them, but we've been hearing that for the last 2 weeks. It is on our website. If you need to see that, it's there. Too, with this group here, presenting with you today, you do have a sheet of some of this, our trial garden book, and this has all the new stuff that we have in. What I'm talking about is the stuff that we're excited about. So if you want to stop by, you can ask me for this. I can give this to you so you can have all of it. You can also use our old catalog too if you really need to get an order together and know what's on there. So just so you know that there is a catalog coming. If you're an existing customer, it should come in the mail. As soon as we can nail these guys down and figure out what's going on, we'll do so. One of the things that we do with when we add varieties and all that stuff is we trial just about everything. We have a really good relationship with the breeders out there, the Syngenta, the Beacon Camp, the Selecta, all these name brands, Duman, Danziger. We trial it before we decide to sell it. So a lot of times people will see a family of, say, of Calibracola, and you know that there's maybe 8 different colors. And in our catalog, we only have 4 or 5 of them. The reason being is the colors that we don't have in there, we weren't pleased with their performance. We felt that they did not match the family, and we're not going to offer it to the growers. We want you to be successful when you're out there producing. And that's a lot of times what we're having, what we decide to do. But if there is a color that you absolutely insist upon, talk to your sales rep, because basically we will do a custom grow if can be done. Melissa here is our trial manager. She's the one that does all that. She makes sure that our protocols are all done properly and we know what we're dealing with. Some of the new varieties coming up and all that. And this is the stuff that I'm going to talk to you today that we're kind of excited about that we have in the garden. Like I said, the booklet I offered you guys earlier, there's probably about 180 different things that we added to the catalog. One of them is the trade winds. This is a hibiscus. It's not coming up from Florida. It's coming in to you as a liner and everything. If you bring it in sometime in February, you will have a flower probably by June. It's not heavily in flower, but it's much cheaper doing it on your own than buying stuff up from Florida. The colors are pretty nice. We are dealing with the trade winds. It's from the Eris company. We did have hibiscus in our last year's catalog, and it was from Jay Benary. And we were just not, the Hollywood series, we were just not pleased with. It was a hard rooter. It wasn't growing very well and everything. Eris came out with these, and they're much better. So if you're looking for a more economical hibiscus to do in your program, this is pretty good. It's going to be a late spring, early summer flower if you need to have flowers on it. Again, we have back at Grand Rapids, we do what we call our living catalog. Everything that's in that catalog is grown outdoors for the summer. And then we are part of the Michigan tour. What you will end up seeing is just everything that's in the catalog, you will see it full grown in flower and to get an idea of what it's supposed to look like and how it's growing in the outdoors. With that, some of the stuff that we're kind of excited about is Beacon Camp does a very nice job with their petunias and their calibrachoas. One of the petunias that they're having is the T series, and there's a couple other colors in here. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they have the green edge. They almost look like, they remind me of green, lime green color with the dark green edge on it. This T fits the program because basically they're looking for unique stuff, and they put it in the T series. What's nice about this is one variety, but you have maybe 4 or 5 different flower types in there. So you're going to get something that has more pink or more yellow or more of that pinkish cream color. So when you look at it, it almost looks like it's a combination of several different petunias. So it's really nice. You can see the habit in here. Some of the pictures in this slide, and I'll point them out as we go through, is actually in our trial garden right now. So this is what this looked like 7 days ago when we took the picture.
So that smaller picture there, is that?
That small picture is one of the combinations that we did.
That's got a verbena.
Yes, yeah. So you have that. Yeah, that's what we did for the mix. Eucalyptus, we started last year, we started having a section in the catalog for cut flowers, and we were challenging the retailers to offer their customers cut flowers. We're starting to see many of the breeders are developing dahlias and a lot of the other perennial types with larger flowers that are good for cut flowers. So the customer can plant them in their yard and all summer long harvest them. One of the things we are doing is the eucalyptus. This plant is awesome. We tried to take a picture of it from the one we had in the greenhouse, and when we sent it to the person that did this slide, they lost it and they didn't have it. It is filling out a 14-inch plant. It makes a really nice landscape plant also. It has the blue tones to it. The branches are very strong. It survives a heavy rain without any problems. So in a landscape, if you're looking for more of a foliage area in one of the areas in there, this would be an excellent plant for it. Dahlias, there's a new variety called Cherie. It's from Danziger. It's part of a sister to the Hypnoticas. Okay, the Hypnoticas are a very strong breed for them. They have come out with this Cherie. What's nice about this is it's a little bit more, it's similar breeding, but it's not as vigorous as the Hypnotica is, and these make excellent plants for your 4 or 5 inch program. Back at the greenhouse, our trialing manager, she grew them pot tight, basically in a shuttle tray, and when she pulled them out, they had nice structure. They didn't look like a stovepipe or anything like that. They do very well for a tight spacing too. The color on them, it's like the Hypnotica. There's several different colors and varieties and all that. But the series is coming out. They're starting to add more and more and more. So keep an idea for that. But like I said, it's excellent for the quart production.
Are you happy with disease resistance, or do you spray enough that you don't?
Okay, yeah, this is always a really good subject. Dahlias are a pain. Okay, I hate them. I don't grow them in my home for this reason, but the market loves them. We love the flowers and the whole thing. There is no such thing as resistant to mildew, okay, or root disease. But I will tell you what I have my growers back at the greenhouse, what we do, and what I recommend anybody that has disease in the production. It's preventative, okay? Watch your humidity. 10 days after you take that liner and plant it, you need to treat it. You need to treat it for powdery mildew or downy mildew, mostly powdery. And you also got to keep in mind the root diseases. Now, root diseases on a dahlia are because basically that plant has been stressed. So you got to imagine that you rip it out of the tray, and I know we rip them out of the tray. We go like this because we're in a hurry instead of, gradually pulling them out. That root tissue, you basically damaged it. You open up a wound for a virus in the soil to go in, Rhizoctonia, Phytophthora, to name a few, Fusarium. So you want to be careful on your transplant. But by transplanting it and doing a drench after you transplant it for those 3 diseases that I just told you about, you're going to assure yourself that you're not going to develop it further on. If you watch the humidity, and it's kind of hard in late winter, early spring, the humidity is a big issue. You have to try to control that as much as possible. But a preventative spray like of Alliette, Eagle, I love Eagle. We use the Eagle a lot on this. That will help you suppress having it in there, okay? So for a successful Dahlia program, you're better off being preventative and not chase after it, okay? One thing that I'll throw out here too, Mast Young Plants, we stand behind our product. You can always contact me through the company, and I'm their customer grow care, okay? So with questions, talking about different rotations or whatever, we're always willing to help you go through that, okay? Danziger, another breeder that is doing a lot with different petunias. And when you look in the catalog, we have like 240 petunias. You start to get to the point where, how many more petunias do we need? So what we usually do is we look at what's selling, what didn't sell, what didn't make our mark, we throw out, we try to find something different, something more exciting and all that. This one here is Ray Shadow. Danziger's Ray is basically a very good, nice size flower. They have unique colors. And this one here is, again, like I said with the other one that we were looking in the T series, you look at that, it looks like you have several different colors in there. You have more yellow, more of that maroon throat and whatever. And that is, again, when you see anything with these wood chips, that's from our garden in the last 7 to 10 days. That, again, has really nice habit. And we've had a couple of heavy rains, and it's bounced back from a rain very well. And that makes a big difference for a lot of the homeowner, and as you guys as a retailer, if you have outdoor production going on. They have their series, Nemesia, Nesia, they came out with a tangerine. I do a lot of the combo designs back at the greenhouse, and I'm always looking for that stellar orange to kind of help make a mix. This is really nice. It's a strong orange. Again, that is in our trial garden. You can see the shape of it. It's not as wispy as some of the other Nemesia and all that. It works very well in monoculture if you just want individual pots, but I love this one for combination planters. It's basically the mounting habit really makes it really that it's not going to take over the whole basket.
How does that compare with like the essential Demetia?
I think it's better. You're more compact. It's sturdy, and you don't have that. Sometimes you start to get that leaning. You don't have it with this.
Gotcha. Thank you.
New Guineas, there's so many New Guineas out there. There's so many varieties and all that stuff. We do a lot of work with the New Guineas. We're always looking for that large flower stuff that what's really popular now, especially for the retail end of it, is having a New Guinea that it's not just sun, not just shade, because people don't know what to do. Most of everything will live in full sun as long as they water it. I mean, if the plant's not going for water, needing water, it's going to live. Now, it might not be as big as something in partial shade, but basically it can survive. And one of the biggest things that the homeowner is always guilty of is they forget to water or they let it get down too dry. This series is good for shade and for in between to sun. The flowers are very large, and the series has about 4 or 5 colors right now. It's going to continue to do it. It has nice mounding habit. Again, it's in our trial garden, so you can see how big it is. This is a 14-inch pot. All of our stuff is basically done in a 14-inch pot. There's 5 in there, okay? And then also, too, we generally put 5 because we try to have this garden show ready July 1st. We don't go into it because we're in Grand Rapids. We usually don't go into the garden until second week of June, I would say. So we have a lot of traffic come through because of Cultivate in Ohio. So we always try to have it show worthy. So we do 5. What is we just decided to do next year, we're going to go down to 4 in all of our planters because we did a trial there. Again, Melissa, like I showed you her picture earlier, we did a trial where we took about 10 to 15 different varieties and we planted 3 14-inch pots, one with 3, one with 4, one with 5, just to see how it all does. It's all planted at the same time, middle of May. And we found out how it is. If you go on our website a little bit later, you'll be able to see this trial. All our trials we put on our website. Our website is a fabulous site for some information and everything, and you will see it. Right now, they all basically all look the same. So basically, that 5 plant looks just like the 3, but again, we're at the end of summer. You'll see different stages from when they were first planted to where I would say is retail sale. So you're going to find that 4 plants per pot is where your target make is. You might just say, well, I could do a 3 because I know my customer base, I can get away with that. So we're always trying to do stuff like that too, to figure out what's the best route and all that. So what you're seeing right now is 5. The reason being, it's not because the plants can't do it. It's because we want instant wow is what we're trying to get. Foliage seems to be coming back. I used to work for an employer. He used to say that he's always looking for something that's going to rock the chandeliers. And basically, has anything really developed or whatever. But now it seems like what goes around comes around. I have 2 daughters. I have one that's a fashionista. I'm surprised what she wears right now. I wouldn't, I remember the 70s and 60s and they're wearing it again. Same thing with foliage. Foliage all went away. Now it's coming back. And what's really neat about foliage, it's starting to show up in our combinations. I do a lot of combinations with foliage in there. I'm not looking for a flower. I'm looking for leaf texture and color to bring out the color in the flowers. This is a bridal veil, Tradescantia. A lot of the bridal veil that you see, the florist quality and everything is a little bit lighter green. This is a darker purple. You can see some of the dark purple. Again, that's a 14-inch. And that is basically a heavy ball. It's not as frail as the other bridal veil. This is a little bit more heavier. It does get the same flowers, those little white flowers, which is kind of cool for in a mixture. But basically, we're seeing that would be really good for just hanging basket production if you want something for your foliage end.
But you'd have to put that with something pretty aggressive.
Yes, whenever I'm designing combos, and I get this a lot of times, you got to understand when you're putting a combo together, that catalog, our catalog especially, will have vigor, size, and everything. You kind of want to match it. So you don't want to put a calabacoa in there that is basically a 4 to 6 inch and go with, I'll show you some petunias later, that the petunia is going to get, 15 to 16 inches big because you know what's going to happen. You're going to have a petunia basket. So you want to try to match those vigors a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that you can't use that small one, especially if you're doing a design that has a front to back and that you can basically have off to the side. It could work on there, but I can guarantee by the season end, the most aggressive one's going to take over that basket. A lot of times when I'm designing and I have something that's aggressive like Lobellaria, Euphorbia, Ipomea, I only put one in the combination and usually it's dead center because it's going to take its time to get to the ends of the pot and it gives a while for the other plants to get established and growing. So then you finally do get this combination and you start to see the poking of the Ipomea or the Euphorbia coming. Buddleia, we added these 2. Again, you look at that one there, that's just a phenomenal looking plant. And the flower power has been good all season. So if you have, for people that are looking for, the insects, butterflies, bees, whatever, this is beautiful. The color on this is really nice. I do combinations, like I said, with foliage. I also do combinations with perennials. The perennials that we offer in our catalog are very good for in combos. And a lot of people don't think about it, but you can. And then you also can tell your homeowner, hey, at the end of the season, I have perennials in here that you can plant in your yard and it should overwinter.
Do you know if that one's sterile? Some of the new
I don't know right offhand. That would be something to look at. I'm not familiar with that. I do know that basically it has been holding its flowers very well. So it's about the extent of that. But that's a good question. Digitalis, again, the perennial line. I think this is really awesome. And again, you can see the breeder picture that you get. And by the way, the breeders, we're talking about 4 or 5 plants there. When you look at a breeder's catalog, just remember they're photoshopped. Okay, they're sticking stuff in there and the whole thing. Ours, we're not sticking anything. So you can see that this is a little bit lopsided a little bit right now, depending on where you are. The flower color on this, again, where theirs is a little bit more pinkish. Ours is a little bit paler, but ours is in full sun. So when you walk that trial garden, you really see what that plant's going to do in full sun and everything. Because a lot of times you look, how many of you looked at something in a catalog and you get it, and it is not what I thought it was. That's one thing about these pictures here. This is what you're going to get. Again, nice medium height, sturdy plants. Does really good in the rain and everything. Augustaceae, I think this is very cool. Again, it's designing combos. I'm always looking for a flower that's just sparse color, not really dominant. This is going to give you that frilly look that work in there to play off your yellows and all that stuff. It is hardy to zone 6, so it's not really, up here I think you're what, 4, 5, or 5A, something like that. So it's not going to be something you can do. Excellent annual. And it looks really nice. And again, it's in our garden, so you can see how big it is. And it's just, the color is just really nice. And it has that Augustaceae smell. Some people think it smells good. Some people think it stinks.
Does it bloom all the way to frost?
Yes. Yeah, that was another thing that we liked it. It was like from when we first put it in the garden, you could start seeing the buds and everything, and it's just developed to where it's at.
And it has a clean look.
Yeah, it has a clean look. It doesn't have that. You know how sometimes they have the dead flower. It's been very clean, yeah. So I don't know if the wind's blowing. The buds, if the wind's taking care of it or whatever. It's been really nice. Yes, yeah. Hypnotica, we talked about the Sherry. Well, the Hypnotica, they came out with the new one, and it's called candy corn, and it looks like a bowl of candy corn. I'm going to tell you right now, because like I said, we're very honest with it and everything. It grows very well. I don't have mildew on it in the garden right now, but I'm not telling you it's resistant. I'm just telling you right now I have areas in the dahlias that have mildew and that are fallen. This is still holding up. They're not toting it being resistant. You got to remember, resistant does not mean that it doesn't get it. It means it fights it a little bit more, okay? This here also, in the beginning of spring, looked like that picture. That Mr. Sun in July and August has bleached it, okay? So it's more of, all that orange is more of a pinkish color and all that stuff. So if I were going to go with this, in which I don't want to discourage you, and you can see here on some of the flowers how it's not as intense as what the breeder said it would be. It was looking like this in the beginning. But that's more like what we're developing now. So what I would say is this is perfect for early sales before the heat hits it. Calibracoa, I mean, there's just so many out there. I get phone calls. What would you go with? What do you do? And again, it depends on what production you're doing. Are you talking combos? Are you talking hanging baskets? Are you talking 4-inch? It's all out there. That's where you need to look at the catalogs, height specs and everything. That's going to dictate where you go. So if you're looking for something in a 4-inch, the Evos and stuff like that, you're going to lean towards that. Doom and Orange, they have the Bloomtastic. We like this because, as you can see, again, this is in our garden. The shape is really nice. Hanging baskets would be really good. They have some unique colors coming out and in their series and all that. One thing that I always look at a Calibracoa is how it's doing right now. And I don't, I'm not sure what you guys have at home or still at the stores that you're at or whatever. But usually when that heat comes on, you start to see things just checking out. We're done, whatever. And there's nothing worse than walking around and having this nice combo that you're so proud of, and the Bacopa's gone, or the Calibracoa is burning out or whatever. This did very well. And you can tell that it's been very well because you don't see that browning in there yet. Usually you get down in there and you can see where it's starting to falter. So again, it has its root system. They're claiming that they have the strongest root system on the Calibrachoa market. So if you're looking for a good Calibrachoa, I would stick with the Dooman genetics. They also came out with their yellow petunia, and again, there's so many yellow petunias out there and everything. And people go, "Which yellow would you do?" And again, it's subjective because a lot of them out there are nice. I like this one because look at the shape; it's just gorgeous. I mean, and that's there's no pruning and there's no growth regulator in this garden. These things are planted and they're letting the Mother Nature take their course. It has a deeper yellow throat. It's a little bit paler yellow on the edge, so it's not like a real deep goldish yellow, but it does give a nice look. You can play off that for a combination. There's so many different aspects.
I can't tell from the picture. Are they planted in pots or are they?
Yes, they are a 14-inch pot.
Okay.
And that one has 5 too?
Yes, they are. The 4 around and 1 in the center is how we do it. We offer succulents. Again, what goes around comes around, and succulents have been really hot this time of the year. We offer a mixed tray. Reason why we do a mixed tray because it's just like to get 50 of one, a lot of customers say, oh, that's too many. So we offer a mixed tray and everything. One of the exciting things that we always try to pick unique trays, and then we also throw one of the last year's out and try to get something new. So there's a nice rotation of something. What's new? Everybody likes what's new. Again, so this is 2 succulents. It's going to be in a new mix. I think it's going to be Surfside and Coastal Coral. This one here is a crushula. I know people are going to like this because when I was in Cultivate, I had this in the booth, and every time when I come in the morning to turn the booth on, the lights and everything, there'd be plugs missing. So I think it's going to be a hot one, okay? So, to the point where if you don't nail it down, it can walk away. And the peperoma is pretty cool too, and I could see that being used. And again, succulents too, people say, if you're trying to get some size, you're going to water them a little bit more, but you're not going to soak them, okay? It's you play with that water, in between. 5 is soaking wet, 1 is bone dry. You want to go for a 3, it'll grow for you. And that peperoma would be a good one to slide into the foliage program, so if you have some foliage, 4-inch and stuff like that. Begonias, we usually have a shaded area for the begonias. Kensler does a really nice job with them. They came out with this series. We had trouble with the Iconias, if you're familiar with this begonia and everything. It's really nice. It has a nice fragrance and all that stuff. Cuttings coming from wherever they come from, Central America or whatever, were lousy the last 2 years. It was a struggle to get roots on them, to get them to sellable size. There's nothing we hate more than what you hear that we can't supply. You order it, can't supply it. It's not always our fault. Though I'm going to tell you, my growers screw stuff up sometimes, okay? But we're able to, because every week we're producing about the same stuff, we're able to flip-flop and make it good. When the vendor or the breeder is sending us crap in, I can't do anything with it. And so we got disgusted with it. A lot of customers were upset about it. So Kinsler came out with this. They said, go for this. It's going to be your Iconia replacement. We grew it. You can see it there. Again, that's in a 14-inch pot. Yes, it has 5 plants in here, 4 around, 1 in the center. But that's how nice it is. I mean, it's really nice and it has a little bit of a fragrance to it. And it is basically, the shape is nice. The foliage is really good. And what excites me is the cuttings look good coming in. Terrascape, they also have coleus, and here's another one. I mean, there's coleus, you name it, size, this, that, or whatever. And when we're looking at it and replacing it, in the last couple of years, we really went through and really rogued out a lot of coleus in that. And one of my favorite coleus is definitely Dooman's Downtown series. It's really a nice coleus, and it seems it's not resistant to mildew, but I have not had the issue of having a plant in the greenhouse develop it. So that's been really good with it. Kensler, again, they have a new series. They call it the Terrascape. It's basically supposed to be very good in the landscape, very dense, as you can see how dense that is. It fills out a lot. They have some unique colors coming up. And they want it, each breeder wants to compete. You have that luxury car, Chevy has their luxury car, while Ford has theirs. You're always competing between. Breeders the same way. They could develop something that, oh, look at that. I can guarantee that in the back room, that breeder is basically trying to come up with something else too. So that's where Kinsler is trying to basically, play around with Duman's main straights. They're trying to get that same type. Foliage, like I said before, there's always this thing has been around since I was a kid. Okay, when I was in grade school, the teacher had this growing on our windowsill, and I'm not going to tell you how many years ago that was. But again, we're offering it. Just want to let everybody know. Does anybody know who loves this? Aphids. Okay, you're not going to get them from me because we spray them. But if there's any chance of any plant in your greenhouse getting aphids, it's going to be this one. Again, another Calibracola. This time it's by Selecta. They're doing their Uno series, which is they're calling it Funtopia Pink. It's a double. Again, nice shape. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of nice shaped Calibracola lately. You don't have that, it used to be like we used to call it spidery or whatever. You don't have it. They're breeding them to have good body and all that. Another one I think is underused a lot is San Vitalia. Again, a lot of people talk about, I use Bacopa, it's burnt out. One that I recommend if you are assisting on like a whitish flower, look at the Petunia Itsy. It will replace your Bacopa and it will bloom all summer. If you're looking for a yellow, because a lot of Biddens kind of cycle out a little bit too, and it's just disappointing sometimes, and sometimes other plants just take over. This is where the San Vitalia would take its place. It's really good. It is on the compact side. You can see how tight it is. So I would, don't put it with something very, basically in a hanging basket that you have something that's very vigorous. But if you want a show of color all summer, this is your plant.
So you're recommending the one from Danzinger for quartz and the other
Yep.
one for
Yep.
baskets?
Yep. The one for baskets is not as tight. As you can see, that's what this one is here. We probably should have had a better slide on that. But it's a little bit looser, so you can do it in combinations and stuff like that. I have this in combos, but it's like I said, I have a front and back, so that front is like down in there, so you want that ball there or whatever. Again, Suntory, they are not as popular or known as a lot of the other breeders that we were talking about, but they have a lot of nice strong lines of stuff in that. And one of their petunias, their Surfinia, this called Blackberries and Cream. This is again another cool, unique one. Dark center, yellow on the outside. I have fun with this when we're making combinations. I mean, because the colors scheme and everything. And if you look in this, basically, it goes from real light to really dark. So you can have fun with that. Basically, it's good habit. It's the flower size is medium flower. Foliage is on the smaller side, so you just have a show of color. Birthday Bash is a new series from Syngenta. I personally don't care for this 100%. It's cool because it's a double flower. I just don't like the growth habit of it. To me, begonias are usually pretty big, so these stay a little bit compact. For small pots, that's what I would do them with. I would not, here again, you can see this. That's in my 14-inch. You can see why I don't like them. So for something like that, I wouldn't do it. But for small pots, people do it, making combinations with it and all that. That's where that would work. Syngenta came out with a a series called Limitus. Basically, this is, to replace the old-fashioned non-stops. What's nice about this is the flowers are bigger than a non-stop, and you can see the foliage on there. The foliage is nice, hard. I don't want to say crisp, because then we'll talk about damage, but it just has some structure to it, and fairly strong. Again, I think if you compared the two, regular nonstop to this, I think you'll go for that. The flowers just look a little bit more doubled, and they're larger. And there's, I think, 4 colors. Yeah, 4 colors to that. Us in the plant world, if you go to Cultivate and everything, this was up for the Oscar this year for the best plant. It lost to a canna from Brene, I think, had the canna. But basically, this is a double. It's not really a sunflower. It's called what they call the Sunfinity, but goes into the sunflower category. This is a beast. I have it back at the greenhouse in a 32-inch pot, and it is humongous. I probably should have took a picture of that, but sorry, here it is. That's right. That is it. That's in a 28-inch pot.
Just how many plants in there?
That has 3. Because I'm going to tell you something. That's a combo. Do you see what I put in there?
Is it lantana?
Lantana. There's a Calibracoa. And there should be a Biddens. Okay? Yeah. That's what that did. It just swallowed everything. It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. As far as sunflower, it's a Sunfinity. That's what they're calling their sunflowers. Again, it's in the Helianthus family, but basically it buries its dead. I mean, so when the flower goes out, it keeps growing and all that stuff. It's a good choice. And I would do this production in like 6-inch, 8-inch. I wouldn't go any smaller than that. Pinch it. You can pinch it. A lot of people do. I pinch. One of the things that we talk about, and this was a flash sale. I don't know if you're aware of flash sales, but our company offers Carlin 4 times during the season a flash sale. And what I mean by flash sale is basically we are offering a limited amount for a limited time of stuff that's 1 year out. Okay, so you have the opportunity to buy something that's not readily available this spring, that's going to be available next spring. And this is the relationship we have with the breeders. So when we're entertaining breeders, when they come in, we ask them, what could we do for a flash sale? This Painted Love is from Syngenta. This is an incredible plant. Was one of the flash sales. Okay, so that's always something to keep in mind. So when you're talking to your Carlin reps, let them know, hey, if Mast Young Plants has a flash sale, you make me aware of it. Okay, and they don't tell you out. It's a flash sale, so you got to let them know that when they get it, let you know that you're interested in it, and it gives you an opportunity to have something that's 1 year out. So the other place down the road, if they're not jumping on this, they're not going to have it. We did, again, the Petunia Deco Max, that was a flash sale one time. And that is something that, don't get me wrong, Proven Winners has their area in the market. They have some good breeding, they have some good plants and all that stuff. I also know that they have stipulations on how their plant product is sold. That's all further I'll go with that. So we are always getting questions like, what is similar to that? Is there anything out there that we could do? This is one that I would say is the closest you're going to get to bubblegum without paying all that royalty and stuff like that. And that is part of the breeding. That's what Syngenta was trying to do. I encourage you, if you are a PW person, great. That's working for you, it's great. Try that. Put them up against each other. See what you think. On that 5. Everything is 5. Like I said, it's like instant wow. We got next year. It'll be 4. Everything we decided we're going to go to 4. After we did that trial that I was telling you about, we're saying we're going middle of the road. The big one, that was a 16-inch. That one that was hanging there. That's off one of the greenhouses in our company. And the decos were that bubblegum or the pink that I said it was similar to it. So they have a couple other colors. They have some unique, fun series. It's pinwheels. They got stars. And it's all similar breeding and everything like that. So they try to keep in the family the vigor and all that.
And how vigorous is the Deco series?
It's very vigorous.
Very vigorous. Some baskets.
Yep. Landscape.
Yep.
I wouldn't put in 4-inch. You'll be cutting it. Westflower came out with something. It's called Secret, and it's not sacred. And they were just in the garden yesterday, and I'm going like, where did you get this word? And he's like, wow, I work for a German company, and he goes, if you throw the accent on it, and I'm going like, what are you getting at? And he goes, well, it's supposed to be reddish. So he says it's secret red. Okay, so that there's no meaning behind it here. I thought we are going to get some big Egyptian cryptic something or other. We get nothing, but this is the way they decided to name it. So basically what's nice about this, it is very cool. You have the star. You have basically, if you know some of the Amore series where you have that heart design in the leaf, you have a little bit of that in there, and you have some of the cream color. The throat in it is a different color. So you've got a lot of colors in there. But the one thing that is really interesting about this, almost all the flowers stay true. Because if you start looking at what we call the Crazy Tunia series, they're crazy because you don't always have the same flower. This is one thing this is what they're hoping eventually they can get the Crazy Tunia line too, to be a little bit more even. But basically, that's what you're looking at there. So you have, like the light pink, hot pink in there. And the shape's pretty good, and the habit is like a Crazy Tunia habit, so it's medium vigor. The Calico series, which they're pushing, and we did put it in there, and this is Frankenberry, I think it's called. Big flowers, you can see the guy's hand there. So it's calibracholis, foliage and growth. But basically, it has larger flowers. After rain, it seemed to be pretty good because we get a tough rain. That's everybody runs out to see what the rain did and everything. We like to see everything laying down. It's like and then if you wait a couple hours later and you come back and everything that's perked up makes you feel better about your choices. This perked up, didn't have any issue with it. Basically, we again offer all the breeder combos, so you have those 3 plants in one sale. They spend a lot of time working, and this is where I tell you, try to make sure all the varieties work well together, and that's what they basically take the guesswork out of it. I always get asked, how many per plant would you do? And normally I would say a 12-inch, depending if you have time on your side. And I know it's very expensive to heat, so you don't want to start your greenhouse too early or whatever. If time's on your side, you can get away with 2. If you're not, going to fire it up till a little bit later, 3. And if you want a quick turn, 4. And then we, occasionally we'll offer this as a quick flash sale too, that you will get, a new variety or something like that. They'll let us have it first. One thing with our company, we have strong relationship with all our breeders. We work very well together. Again, and then we design our own combos. I hear they have an excellent designer on staff. So we do come up with some really nice stuff once in a while. There's an example there. You can see some of the salvia in that, and some of the how we play off everything. And then basically, here I didn't even know this sign is in here, but here Every once in a while, the boss throws a plug to make you feel good. But basically, yeah, we sit there and I'll design all year. I have to do like 350 in that garden, and that's just our design. That's not the combos from the breeders and all that stuff. So there's a lot of work. If you ever have the opportunity to be in Grand Rapids, it is open all summer, and you can stay till you can't see. If you got headlights, you can walk around there with a headlight.
Is that a combo that's gonna be available?
No, that's mine.
Okay.
So you have a slide. There's the mix. These are the flash sales. I believe this was last year's flash sale. So this is what I'm talking about, a flash sale. This gives you guys the inside view of what's to come. I am working on a part of our garden. I'm trying to get the breeders. I redesigned an area for beds, trying to get them to want to give us enough to plant a bed of stuff. So when you come to our garden and you say it's summer of 25, we're going to show you what's available summer of 26. Give you a taste of it, because I know stuff that's coming out of the pipeline 3 years from now. And I don't know if you guys read some of the magazines, but they finally came out with the petunia that glows in the dark. Did you see that? Yeah, I knew that about 7 years ago, and that's how long it took.
Is that going to mass production here in the next couple of years?
No, again, cutting availability, folks got to understand that. They get all excited and they what's your whistle? If we can't get the cuttings, how can we give them to you?
So that's like supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I think they like us. They're a pretty good relationship with that breeder, and I think they're the ones that are going to get it this season. So unfortunately.
Oh, so they are going to be available.
I think so. I haven't talked to Susie lately, so I don't know what she's going to do. Just to sum it all up, we have packaging. Just so you guys know that if you buy from us, and it's cheaper to fill that case up, when it's shipped. If for some reason the sales rep or the broker didn't, put enough in there, our girls will usually call you and say, hey, you can get another tray in here. Are you interested in, another tray or whatever? Because, shipping is expensive. And then we do ship in the master box. We're kind of unique to that. So it's a 4x4 box, less flipping around. We do offer trucking too. We have certain areas that we go on the trucking.
How many fit in the master box?
Anywhere from about 45 to 55 trays. We're always looking ahead, and right now our facility has HID lights, which are quite expensive to use, and we, in the last couple of years, have been switching over to LED. It's much more cost effective. Depending on time of the day, here you can see how reddish it looks. The way the lights are. Sometimes it's kind of at dusk, it's kind of hard to walk underneath them because you almost need sunglasses and all that. We're finding that the LED lights are producing a much nicer plug, so we're working with it. It's a trial and error, and I know a lot of the universities have done a lot of work, so you don't know how good it is until you're doing it yourself. And we found that if it's a vigorous variety, the LED lights will keep it a little bit more compact, less PGRs. If it's a weaker variety, it will stop it. So you're playing this thing. Does it go under the lights or doesn't going under the lights? So we've been doing a lot of work with that. So we're always in the, looking for that. And here's an example. So down at the bottom is a euphorbia. And then basically the one on the right is grown under the lights. The one on the left is not under the lights. So you can see it's more compact. You can see the red. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of euphorbia has multicolor base to it, and light brings it up. And up at the top, on the left, no LED lights. You can see the roots. The right's got the roots. And like I was telling you before, summer trials, they're available. If you're a plant nerd and this is your livelihood, I recommend you come and see our garden. We're very proud of it. It's a living catalog. It basically has everything that's in the catalog. I would say 98%, because there's usually a breeder that can't give us something. But it basically is there so you can see what is there, and it's online. Also, too, on just so you know what we were talking about, if you go to our website, there's a lot of information. At the end of the season, we put a lot of info about the trial, what people pick. We let people go through and we have flags, and they're supposed to pick their favorite new variety and stuff like that. You can look at that and see what people have picked. We're always, you know, looking for what gets you guys excited for us to produce. So feedback is always important to us too, and there's ways to to give us feedback and give your reps feedback so they can give it back to us and all that. We're always looking for that. And that's it. Any questions? Yes.
Yeah, do you open up the gardens to like master, non-professionals, like non-growers, so you get the customer's viewpoint of what looks good?
I'll tell you what we just
And have them.
yes, what we just did, and we just did it last was it Wednesday or Thursday? We took it'd be like you folks, if you own retails or whatever, we invited you to the garden to set up your little retail booth. And then we asked you to invite some of your customers. So we had over 250, and I call them plant nerds with the kindness of my heart. And that's what we had. We had people from Grand Rapids that loved to garden. And to be in that garden, and that this garden involves for us to plant, at the planting stage and all that, you're always looking at a staff of probably about 20 to 30 people to pull this off every year. And I'll go down in April and walk it, and it just, it looks like nothing, and I just said to myself, we'll never, ever get it, to where we want it to be. And everybody comes together, and we end up with this, it's beautiful. And every year, we have different structures. This is pergola. We always have something on there. We have Painted Love on there this year, and I probably should have showed you that Painted Love is a new one, and we're excited about it because basically that's what this one is here. This is Painted Love, and it's what's up on the pergola this year.
And you had Chondra, it looks like.
Yep, I do that to make it look like it's Spanish moss, coming down. Very cool. That Painted Love, we had Syngenta in the garden yesterday, and I made a joke, and I said, I know the people that are pushing some of these things. I said, where did you get that name? I go, where did that come from? And he basically started laughing. He goes, well, we took Painted because he said it's like we sprayed it with a spray paint. And if you look at it, his explanations, it all clicked for me. When you start spraying something with spray paint, what do you notice? It's real light and blotchy. And then as you're going over it, it gets solid. And if you look at that plant, it's basically how it is. It starts out light, starts to get the color you want, and then, you always go, I stayed in that area too long. It's really dark. So that's where he got that. So we had all those people in there. So we had them looking at that, and all the new varieties that I'm talking about. And if you stop by the booth, as long as I have these, you're more than happy to have one of these. They were picking their favorite. Everybody got to pick what they thought their new variety, shade, and the new variety in the sun with their new variety. And that'll be in our website too. So give us some time because it's usually towards end of September, October, all this stuff hits, but it's time enough for ordering and stuff like that. So you get to see some of this analytical work that we do. But the garden's open year round, or not year round, season. So it's readable, I would say, the last week of June, and we all like to watch it die. So it's usually the first frost, we're all running out there. Not that we get, happy to see it die, but to see what survived that first heavy frost. That's always really interesting. Yes?
You didn't talk about your tagging in your box, putting tags in the boxes.
Yeah, was there a slide on that?
Very frustrated with the way.
Yep, and we changed that. We are now shrink wrapping them. And that, evidently she took that out. Huh. I'll have to get with her. There was a slide. Yeah,
You
we,
changed it.
yeah, it's gonna be, I know, I've been there. I seen it, believe me.
At least there was-
I get the phone calls. Yeah, I'm supposed to be getting the growing phone calls, but every once in a while somebody will come and bitch to me about, you know how this came in, sorry. And then FedEx, we use FedEx, UPS. They don't understand what the arrow on the box is. They must think it's that a boy. I don't know. We can't figure that out because I get a lot of pictures of trays that came in upside down.